Dear Megan, thanks for the prompt and last week's video. The snow was really gorgeous from your windows in Charlottesville. This theme should have been easy for me, ostensibly. I love poetry and also lots of things that poetry has been written about. But, for reasons you know, this actually ended up being really difficult for me. It's hard to find a poem about things you love when it's hard to remember feeling things at all, so it just wasn't clicking, and simply going to find a poem to slap over some footage would have seemed aggressively fake. I don't like fake. When I started filming this, I thought that maybe I would find or write a poem about the sun, because the sun is one of basically two things in the world that will, without fail, make me feel better when I feel like shit. The other is Ian, of course. Yesterday was a bad day. It was a stay-in-bed day because I didn't have the capacity to do anything else sort of day. But around 4, Ian convinced me to get up and get out, so I decided to go for a long walk on my way to the local coffee shop for a change in scenery. So, instead of a poem, I'm just going to talk to you about my walk, which was lovely, while showing you the sun-focused footage of my neighborhood that I took while out and about. North Side is really gorgeous. It probably isn't urban enough for you, but I love the rows of old houses on quiet streets, tucked away from the main thoroughfare of really awesome, artsy, independent businesses and restaurants. It's pretty much exactly my style and pace. Even though it's winter, the sun was piercing yesterday in a way that injected some energy back into my brain as I squinted at the brightness reflected in all the snow around me. I like seeing the sun appear behind trees or street poles or glance off the windows of houses. I like the crunch of snow under my feet in places that hadn't been cleared and the soft steps in places that had. I like quiet streets lined by houses bursting with character and stories. I like those gaps in reality where all of a sudden I have a view past this bubble into the rest of the city. I like old stone churches and apartment buildings with zigzag fire escapes, and I like turrets that appear on so many of the structures in this city. I really want to have an office in a sunny turret one day. How fucking Tumblr would that be? I like tea, soothing and steaming and the coziest of all beverages. I like exposed brickwork and plants and artwork, and I didn't even hate the typewriter that Sidewinder has in its back corner, despite the fact that I usually think that typewriters nowadays are incredibly pretentious. But most of all, I like the sun. Bright, brilliant, and unrelenting. It's simultaneously a bitch slap to the face and a perfect caress of fingers on the inside of your wrist. A tight but grounding handhold, fingers intertwined in a way that can only happen when two people are so intimately familiar with each other that for that moment, in a way, those fingertips are a fusion, the creation of a singular moment of shared consciousness. The sun reminds me about life and all of the beautiful, overwhelming experiences that it encompasses. It was a good walk. Megan, sorry about the lack of poem, but I guess I'll see you next week for what I know is going to be a rather different type of video. Sincerely, Maura.